Every little comment, every minor setback. If they get under your skin, you've already surrendered. You've given away the keys to your own power. But what if you didn't? What if you walked through life untouched, unbothered, unshaken, like nothing ever fazed you? This isn't about numbing your emotions. It's about mastering them. It's about owning your response so completely that the outside world no longer dictates your inner peace. Life throws noise at you, opinions, judgments, unexpected chaos. And most people, without realizing it, let those things steer them. But the few who rise, they choose silence over reaction. They choose control over chaos. They don't flinch when the storm hits. They walk through it with calm in their eyes and fire in their spirit. Picture this. You're walking into a room. The energy shifts, not because you're loud, not because you demand attention, but because your presence speaks louder than any words ever could. That's power, and it begins with one simple but revolutionary act, choosing not to react. Think about the strongest people in history: Lincoln, Mandela, Eleanor Roosevelt. They weren't reactionary, they were deliberate. When others panicked, they paused. When others lashed out, they leaned into stillness. Their power came from presence, not from force. That's what this is about. Cultivating a presence so grounded that nothing can shake it. Because once you reach that level of self-control, you no longer play by the world's rules, you set your own. You stop handing out pieces of your power every time someone disrespects you. You stop letting setbacks define you. You become a fortress, not cold, not distant, but immovable. Focused. Decisive. The moment you stop reacting, the world starts noticing. And the best part, this isn't a gift you're born with. It's a mindset you train. It's a discipline you build. It starts now, with one thought, one decision, one refusal to let anything steal your peace ever again. Because the truth is simple. When you learn to act as if nothing bothers you, you stop living at the mercy of the world and start living as the master of your own. Most people believe strength is about resistance, about pushing back, reacting, proving something. But real power, it's quiet. It's still. It's the ability to remain unshaken in a world designed to break your focus. The truth is, life is relentless. It will test you with criticism, distractions, delays, and frustrations every single day. People will challenge your worth. Situations will try to steal your time, your energy, your peace. And yet the most powerful move you can make is to be unmoved. Mastering the nothing bothers me. Mindset isn't about apathy. It's about authority. It's about rising so far above the chaos that you don't even need to respond to it. When someone tries to provoke you and gets nothing but your silence, they lose. You win. Not because you shouted louder, but because you chose not to shout at all. Indifference, when intentional, is not weakness, it's strategic dominance. Imagine this. You're walking through a storm. Rain pelting your shoulders, wind howling in your ears, but your pace never changes. You don't look up. You don't flinch. You simply move forward with the same calm stride. That is what this mindset looks like in real life. To achieve this, you must learn emotional separation. You must stop letting temporary circumstances control permanent decisions. Every time you react impulsively, you hand over control. But when you pause, assess, and decide with purpose, you reclaim that control. Think of the greats, those who shifted history. They weren't easily rattled. They didn't throw punches at every insult. They didn't spiral over every obstacle. Instead, they moved like they had already won. And that unbothered posture. That is what people remember. That is what commands respect. Because indifference isn't silence. It's certainty. It's the kind of certainty that tells the world I don't need to prove myself. I already know who I am. And that confidence, that mental stillness it radiates. People sense it. They're drawn to it. They try to understand it. But most will never reach it, because most are still reacting. Still explaining, still trying to win battles that don't even matter. Don't be most people. Detach. Observe. Choose your response, not your reaction. Because the moment you stop being swayed by the world starts bending to you. That's not magic. That's mastery. Mastery is never accidental. It is forged moment by moment, thought by thought, through discipline and intention. And if you want to walk through life untouched, you must train your mind like a warrior trains for battle daily, deliberately, and without excuse. Start with the pause. In every emotionally charged situation, there is a brief space, a sliver of silence between what happens and how you respond. That space is your gateway to power. Most people skip over it. They react. They explode. They let their emotions write checks their mind can't cash. But you learn to live in that pause. You let it become your fortress. When someone insults you, don't defend. When you're triggered, don't lash out. Ask yourself instead, does this impact my mission, my long-term peace, my ultimate vision? If the answer is no, and it almost always is, let it pass. Let it dissolve into the wind. This doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. It means you command them. You feel fully, but you act selectively. And that control is built one decision at a time. Start visualizing the version of yourself who is unbothered, untouchable. See him or her walking through chaos with steady eyes, unbreakable posture, and unwavering calm. Picture every insult bouncing off you like rubber. Picture every challenge bending to your will, not because it's easy, but because you refuse to bend. Your mind will become what you feed it. So feed it images of strength. Practice the habit of non-reaction, not as a weakness, but as a weapon. The world expects you to explode, to crumble, to fall apart. When you do none of that, when you simply smile and keep moving, you shift the dynamic. You steal their power and reinforce your own. That's how dominance works. Not through volume, through silence, not through panic, through presence. Build the armor. Every time you choose stillness over reaction, you forge another piece. Every time you visualize strength, you reinforce it. And eventually, you won't need to try anymore, you'll simply be. Be the one they can't provoke. Be the one they can't predict. Be the one who walks through the fire and doesn't even smell like smoke. Because when you stop letting life dictate your emotions, you start dictating the course of your life. We've been taught that caring is a virtue, that worrying proves responsibility, that overthinking means intelligence. But what if I told you the opposite is true? That the deepest power you'll ever wield is the ability to say, "This doesn't deserve my energy," and walk away. Mindful indifference is not apathy. It is prioritization. It is choosing what gets to enter your emotional world and what doesn't. Because not everything deserves your attention. Not every comment requires a response. Not every fire is yours to put out. The truth. Most of what you're stressed about today won't matter a year from now, maybe not even next week. That awkward moment, that failed pitch, that cold stare from someone who doesn't even know your name. Let it go. Why? Because when you hold on, you carry weight that slows you down. You start internalizing battles that were never yours to fight. And slowly, without noticing, you dilute your strength. You become emotionally exhausted not from major crises, but from 1,000 little cuts you never needed to feel. That's what makes indifference a superpower. It's a shield. It protects your clarity. It sharpens your focus. It allows you to channel your energy into what truly matters, your purpose, your values, your growth. And make no mistake, the world notices. When others overreact, you stay composed. When others seek validation, you stay anchored. When everyone else is obsessed with being liked, you're focused on being whole. That kind of emotional sovereignty, it changes the room. It changes your life. Think of the people you admire most, the ones who walk in their truth without flinching. They don't chase approval. They don't engage in petty debates. They are secure not because the world approves of them, but because they've already approved of themselves. You must become that person. Next time your mind spirals over something small, pause and ask, will this matter in 5 years? If not, release it. Let it fall like leaves from a tree that no longer serves your season. Remember this: not every opinion deserves to shape you. Not every loss is a defeat. Not every slight is worth avenging. Master indifference not as a way to feel less, but as a way to feel deeply about the right things. Because in a world that's addicted to reaction, the one who responds with intention will always lead. Criticism is inevitable, but how you respond to it, that's what defines you. Most people crumble under judgment. They shrink. They second-guess themselves. They let someone else's words rewrite the script of their identity. But here's the truth. Criticism is just noise until you give it meaning. It's powerless until you breathe life into it. There are 2 kinds of criticism in this world: constructive and destructive. Constructive criticism comes from people who want to see you grow, people who have walked the path, who offer insight from a place of wisdom. That kind of feedback. Welcome it. Learn from it. Use it as fuel. But destructive criticism, that's different. It's born from envy, insecurity, or ignorance. It's noise disguised as counsel. And your job is to ignore it not with bitterness, but with clarity. Imagine a sculptor chiseling away at a block of stone. As he works, passers-by stop. Some admire. Some suggest improvements. Others scoff, saying it'll never become anything. But the sculptor doesn't explain. He doesn't justify. He doesn't stop. He just keeps carving because he sees what they can't, the masterpiece still hidden within. You are that sculptor. If you stop every time someone doubts your vision, you'll never finish the work that matters. You must learn to filter every piece of criticism through this question. Does this person have the insight to guide me, or are they just projecting their fear onto me? Most criticism reveals more about the critic than the target. And when you internalize that, you become bulletproof. You stop fighting shadows. You stop defending your path to people who were never meant to walk it. You move with conviction, not because you're never wrong, but because you know who you are. You listen with discernment. You accept what serves you, and you discard the rest without apology. The strongest people in history were ridiculed long before they were revered. They were doubted, mocked, dismissed. But they pressed forward anyway. Not because the criticism stopped, but because they stopped giving it power. So the next time someone throws words meant to wound, pause, breathe, analyze. If there's truth, grow from it. If there's venom, walk away. Let your strength be in your stillness. Let your silence scream louder than your defense. Because when you no longer need to prove anything to anyone, you've already won. Pressure doesn't create character, it reveals it. When life tightens its grip, when plans crumble, when chaos reigns, some people panic. Others break. But the rare few, they breathe. They observe. They respond not with emotion, but with precision. And that calm, that composure under pressure is a kind of power the world can't ignore. The mistake most people make is expecting life to cooperate. They believe things should go as planned, people should behave a certain way, outcomes should align with effort. And when reality shatters those expectations, they crumble not from the events themselves, but from their refusal to accept the storm. But the storm was always coming. The strongest individuals, the ones who rise in moments of crisis, aren't surprised by adversity. They train for it. They rehearse discomfort. They build their minds for the battle long before it begins. Imagine a warrior stepping onto the battlefield. He doesn't hope for an easy fight. He expects resistance, ambush, pain. But he walks forward anyway, calm, focused, unshaken, because he has already faced the war in his mind. He doesn't resist the chaos. He moves with it. You must become that warrior. Stop expecting ease. Start training for reality. Because pressure will come, it always does. The question is, will you react like everyone else? Or will you respond like someone who's already prepared? Composure isn't about denying your emotions. It's about controlling them. It's about choosing logic when others choose panic. It's about standing tall when everything around you tells you to fall. And here's the secret: the more pressure you endure with grace, the more unshakable you become. What once rattled you will no longer touch you. You'll move through chaos like still water, reflective, steady, deep. This kind of presence is magnetic. In a room full of people losing control, the one who stays composed becomes the leader without speaking a word. People trust calm. They follow it. They lean into it. So how do you build it? You prepare. Mentally rehearse worst-case scenarios, not to invite fear, but to build strength. Meditate under stress. Breathe through conflict. Learn to slow your mind when the world speeds up. Make discipline your habit, not your hope. And most importantly, accept that you can't control everything, but you can always control yourself. Because true mastery under pressure isn't about changing the world around you. It's about becoming so steady within yourself that nothing outside can shake you. Letting go is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's the quiet power of recognizing that control is an illusion, and peace is found not in holding tighter, but in releasing what was never yours to manage in the first place. Suffering often begins where attachment refuses to end. We grip tightly to expectations, to outcomes, to the fantasy of how things should go. And when reality fails to meet those imagined blueprints, we ache not because of the event itself, but because we tried to force life into a mold it never agreed to fill. Think of water flowing in a river. It doesn't argue with rocks. It doesn't demand a straight path. It simply adapts, bending, turning, carving its way forward without resistance. That's how you must begin to move through life. Things will happen that you cannot control. The job you didn't get, the person who walked away, the opportunity that slipped through your fingers. You can fight these moments, or you can flow through them. And in that choice lies your liberation. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You stop allowing external events to dominate your internal state. You stop handing your peace to situations that no longer serve your evolution. And with that shift, something miraculous happens. You regain your energy. The energy you used to waste worrying, regretting overthinking it, returns to you. And now it's yours to direct toward your purpose, your growth, your next bold move. True strength is adaptability. It's the ability to face disappointment and still move forward, not with bitterness, but with clarity. To say, "This wasn't meant for me," and keep building anyway. Ask yourself this: is what I'm holding on to still helping me grow, or just keeping me stuck? If it's keeping you small, let it go. You don't need closure to close the chapter. You don't need revenge to heal the wound. You don't need certainty to keep walking. What you need is faith in your ability to rise again and again, no matter how many times life changes the script. Letting go is not about giving up. It's about giving yourself permission to stop fighting what cannot be changed. It's about stepping out of the storm you can't control and choosing to dance in the rain instead. So, release it. The expectation, the disappointment, the illusion of control. Breathe and walk on. Silence is not the absence of power. It is the embodiment of it. In a world addicted to noise, constant chatter, desperate opinions, the need to be heard, those who master silence rise above the chaos. They observe. They calculate. They let others reveal themselves while they remain unread, unknowable, unshakable. Most people fear silence because it exposes them. In a pause, their insecurities echo louder. Their thoughts spiral. Their need for validation becomes unbearable. So they fill the void with words, justifications, defenses, over-explanations, all in an attempt to feel in control. But the truth is this: the one who speaks less often holds more control. Imagine being in a negotiation. The other person finishes speaking and expects an answer. Instead, you pause. You let the silence stretch. They fidget. They rephrase. They sweeten the deal because your silence created tension, and tension creates leverage. This is not manipulation. It's mastery. Silence makes people lean in. It forces them to confront themselves. It shifts the energy in the room. Suddenly, you're no longer the one being analyzed, they are. And in that reversal lies immense power. Now think of conflict. Someone insults you. Most expect you to lash back. They're counting on your reaction to validate their attack. But you say nothing. You stay calm. You give them no energy to feed off. What happens? They unravel. Because silence denies them control. It makes them question their own motives, their own worth. Your refusal to engage becomes a mirror they can't look away from. And while they're unraveling, you remain composed, focused, untouched. This is how leaders move. This is how legends think. They don't waste words. They don't compete for attention. They know that presence is more powerful than performance. That restraint is more commanding than reaction. So how do you cultivate this power? Start by observing more than you speak. Let silence be your default, not your discomfort. In conversations, listen fully. In chaos, wait before responding. In emotion, pause before engaging. Because every unnecessary word you speak gives away a little bit of your power. But every moment of silence you command draws it back. Let others chase noise. You chase clarity. Let them rush to be heard. You choose to be remembered. And when you do speak, when your words finally break the silence, they'll carry the weight of someone who doesn't speak unless it matters. That's influence. That's strategy. That's the power of silence in motion. Your mind is your battlefield. Every thought you entertain is either arming you or disarming you. The strongest individuals in the world aren't those who never feel fear, doubt, or anger. They're the ones who refuse to be ruled by those emotions. They train their minds like soldiers, train their bodies with repetition, discipline, and the unshakable belief that mental strength is not optional. It's essential. You cannot wait for calm to find you. You must build it. That begins with habits. Simple, daily, non-negotiable habits. Wake up before comfort tells you to. Breathe deeply before anger invites you to lash out. Pause before reacting to situations that don't deserve your energy. Keep your word to yourself even when no one is watching. These small acts, they are bricks in the fortress of your mind. And over time, they become identity. You stop being the person who's trying to be calm, and you start becoming the one who is calm. Not occasionally, not situationally, but unshakably. This doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means your emotions serve you, not the other way around. You acknowledge your feelings, but you don't worship them. You let them pass through without letting them build a home inside you. Think of a storm. Most people get caught in it, blown around, distracted, emotionally drenched, but the mentally trained. They become the eye of the storm. Still, focused, centered. They don't react to everything because they've learned the art of response. They don't spiral when things fall apart because they've already rehearsed adversity in their minds. And that preparation? It makes them resilient in a way that shocks the world. But none of it is magic. It's discipline. Discipline in thought. Discipline in action. Discipline in how you treat yourself when no one else is around to applaud you. The truth is, most people never reach their potential not because they're weak, but because they're undisciplined. They let comfort win. They let doubt settle. They let temporary emotions ruin permanent progress. You must choose differently. Start meditating even for 5 minutes a day. Read something that sharpens you. Sweat through discomfort. Hold promises to yourself like contracts. Not for the world, for you. Because when the world throws chaos at you, and it will, you'll be ready. You won't flinch. You won't fold. You'll breathe. You'll focus. You'll act. And they'll ask you how. And you'll know the answer. I trained for this. Real power moves in silence. It doesn't beg for applause. It doesn't announce its arrival. It simply builds patiently, persistently, until one day the world looks up and it's already done. In a culture obsessed with talking about goals, plans, dreams, those who achieve the most are often the ones who say the least. Because they understand something the loud never do. Energy is precious, and it should be spent on execution, not explanation. The loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. They talk to feel significant. But the one who moves in silence, they talk with results. Stop announcing your next move. Stop explaining yourself to people who haven't earned access to your vision. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Because every word you don't say builds mystery, and mystery builds strength. While others are broadcasting intentions, you're stacking results. While they chase validation, you're chasing mastery. They need to be seen. You need to win. There's an undeniable edge in privacy. When no one knows your strategy, no one can interfere with it. When you act in silence, you remove pressure. You create focus. You build momentum without noise. This isn't secrecy out of fear, it's strategy from wisdom. Think of the world's greatest disruptors, innovators, creators, leaders. They weren't announcing every step. They were building in the dark, letting their actions become the announcement. You must do the same. Build your habits in silence. Make your moves in silence. Win in silence. And when success arrives, and it will speak louder than any speech, louder than any caption, louder than any promise you could have made. That's when the world will notice. That's when they'll say, "Where did this come from?" And you'll smile knowing you never needed to be seen, only to be effective. Because in the end, it's not about who talked the most. It's about who built the most, who rose the highest, who stayed focused long enough to actually finish the race. Let that be you. Let your silence echo louder than their noise. If there's one truth you carry from this message, let it be this. The world doesn't need another voice shouting into the void. It needs individuals who are grounded, unshakable, and sovereign over their own minds. People who don't flinch when insulted, who don't beg for approval, who don't get caught in the drama of things they cannot control. Be that person. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them try to figure you out. You stay focused. You stay still. You move with purpose. Because once you master yourself, your emotions, your reactions, your silence, you master everything. If this spoke to you, leave a comment. Share your story. And most of all, keep building, keep rising, keep becoming.